Welcome back to another episode of Out Loud Geek, where we discuss news and views about pop culture, science fiction, fantasy, food, cooking, the outdoors, and more. A little over 3 weeks ago, I released a video in which I emphatically stated that Star Wars as a franchise is dead. And I provided ample proof. From the divisive Star Wars sequel trilogy movies, the theatrically failed Solo: A Star Wars Story, the soon-to-be permanently closed Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel at Disney World, the now numerous failed or lackluster series on Disney+, and the totally failed Star Wars New Republic books that hardly anyone is buying. All of these failures occurred after Disney, under Bob Iger, purchased Lucasfilm and Star Wars from George Lucas, which was completed on December 21st, 2012. And it was Bob Iger who made Kathleen Kennedy the president of Lucasfilm, at which point she decided to transform not only Star Wars, but the other two franchises that George Lucas had created, Willow and now Indiana Jones, to be representative of her extremist feminist identity politics agenda. The result? Star Wars is dead. Willow is dead, with the Disney Plus sequel series not only being canceled earlier this year after its first season, but also now completely removed from the service by Bob Iger so that he could use the failed show as a tax write-off. And now, as I have been talking about in my Who Will Be the Biggest Flop video series, the fifth Indiana Jones movie that no one actually wanted, Indiana Jones and the Dildo of Destruction, and stars a now 81-year-old Harrison Ford, along with his replacement, a brunette strong-woman self-insert character named Helena, as played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, is flopping in theaters and will likely lose hundreds of millions of dollars for Lucasfilm and Disney. And Disney, which soon has to cough up billions of dollars to purchase Hulu in order to fulfill a contractual agreement, is now looking at selling many of its TV and cable channel networks, which Bob Iger recently declared to be non-core with respect to Disney's business interests. These include ABC, Freeform, and FX, but he doesn't want to completely sell off ESPN, though he does want a third party to come in and invest in ESPN and become a co-owner. Bloomberg is reporting this as Disney's yard sale, writing, Iger put roughly a third of the company up for sale this week, declaring Disney's linear TV assets non-core. That includes TV networks ABC, FX, and Freeform. He also said Disney is looking for a strategic partner for ESPN, though he's not willing to sell the whole thing. And the company is already looking to sell or restructure its TV and streaming business in India. It's a stunning, if inevitable, turn of events for an executive who spent so much of his career working in TV, and for a company that relied on cable networks for the majority of its profit. Before the coup, Disney's media networks generated 35%, or $24.8 billion, of company revenue and more than 50%, or $7.5 billion, of its operating income. Yet the accelerating decline of cable TV has limited Iger's options. He thought he'd solve this problem with Disney Plus and Hulu, his two mass-market streaming services, but his streaming business is expected to register a loss of about $800 million in the company's just-ended third quarter. But what about Disney's other properties? Breitbart reports the following. Iger does not want to sell off the big properties he bought, Lucasfilm, Marvel, Pixar, and even Fox, as a whole, because the selling price will be much, much lower than the purchase price. This would expose him as a rube who consistently overpaid for other people's successful studios to cover up Disney's own struggling creative output. And it would also confirm everyone's strong suspicion that all of these properties are worth only 25 to 50% of what was paid for them, and therefore maybe all of Disney similarly only worth 25 to 50% of the current market valuation. If everything that Disney has purchased is only worth 25 to 50% of what it previously was, then Lucasfilm's value since Bob Iger purchased it in 2012 has dropped by 50 to 75%. And that would mean that instead of being worth the $4,050 million that he paid for it in 2012, Lucasfilm may now only be worth somewhere between $1,013 million to $2,025 million. And who's been in charge of Lucasfilm since Bob Iger purchased it? None other than Kathleen Kennedy. So not only has she completely trashed all of the franchises that George Lucas created, now she has completely trashed the studio that he founded in 1971, Lucasfilm itself. This is the legacy of Kathleen Kennedy, and the best possible thing that she could do for herself right now and for what's left of that totally trashed film studio would be for her to immediately retire, because the longer she remains in charge of Lucasfilm, the worse things will continue to go there. Star Wars is dead, Willow is dead, and now Indiana Jones is dead. She's got nothing left to destroy at Lucasfilm aside from the continued destruction of the studio itself. Thanks for watching today, and a huge thanks to everyone who has subscribed to our channel. We appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, and please feel free to share a comment. If you'd like to help support this channel, please press the red subscribe button, and please press the bell to receive notifications for new content. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter by clicking on the links in the description. Until next time, this is Out Loud Geek.